Over more than 11 years of working on retroactive jealousy, I've received a similar email, a similar comment over and over. It comes from retroactive jealousy sufferers, in particular guys, who are considering proposing to their wife or girlfriend. If that sounds like you, I've got a special message for you in today's video. My name is Zachary Stockill, and since 2013, I've been helping men and women from all over the world overcome retroactive jealousy and save their relationships. If you'd like more information about my work, please visit my website at retroactivejealousy.com. I've got a comment here I'd like to read from a viewer of my channel, from a viewer of videos like this. His name is Mohammed. Mohammed writes, "In your many years of dealing with the topic of retroactive jealousy, have you seen anyone say their retroactive jealousy flares up as soon as they consider marrying their girlfriend? I love my girlfriend and we are together totally, but I'm very bothered by her past relationships. However, it doesn't annoy me as much if I think of her as a girlfriend only. But the moment I feel she's the right person for me and I should pop the question, retroactive jealousy thoughts wash over me. Do you know why that happens?" Okay, Mohammed. And I should mention, as always, for the people here or visiting my channel for the first time, the term retroactive jealousy refers to unwanted intrusive thoughts, often obsessive curiosity, and what I like to call mental movies about a partner's past relationships and or sexual/dating history. So what Mohammed is saying is that as soon as he thinks about marrying his girlfriend, these thoughts wash over him. He's asking me if I've seen that before. And the answer is a resounding yes. Many retroactive jealousy sufferers over the years have described a similar phenomenon to me, where when they're thinking about their partner in a more casual sense, shall we say, they're not really thinking about the future too much, they're pretty okay. But as soon as they start thinking about marriage, all of a sudden retroactive jealousy rears its ugly head. Now, there are a number of reasons why this could potentially happen. One of the reasons could be as simple as your assessment of the level of risk of marrying your partner. In other words, you think maybe on some level that your partner is a greater risk to marry than, Jane, who lives down the street, who's only been with one guy, or Lisa the virgin, or something like that. You think your partner maybe is riskier as a potential mate, long-term mate, compared to other women. And thus, if you perceive that your partner is kind of a riskier bet than a lot of other women, if you're just dating and keeping things relatively casual, her past may not bother you that much. But as soon as you start thinking about her as a more serious long-term option, all of a sudden that risk assessment flares up. Now, it's impossible to give general advice in terms of whether or not that risk assessment mechanism is rational or not. In other words, as far as what you're feeling is rational or not. Because, as many of you probably know, sometimes if you're in the wrong relationship, you're going to feel anxious. That level of risk awareness, shall we say, is going to be kind of extreme because maybe there are indeed red flags. Not even necessarily in your partner's past, but maybe in your partner's present. Or sometimes, of course, there are what a lot of people would consider red flags in their partner's past. My classic example, if your girlfriend has cheated on 3 of her past 4 boyfriends, well, is there a greater risk associated with marrying that person compared to a lot of other women? Let's be honest, the answer is probably yes, because that's a clear pattern. That isn't necessarily a one-off event. That's a clear pattern of pretty dysfunctional behavior. Same thing for women watching this. If your boyfriend, of course, has cheated on 4 of his past 5 girlfriends, well, guess what? There's a good chance you're going to join that list as well. And there's a good chance maybe, unless he's really done the work and really owned his dysfunction, there's a good chance that he's going to cheat when he's a husband. But of course, none of this is guaranteed. People change all the time. I'm in the business of helping to facilitate personal transformation. I'm the first person to say, of course, people change all the time, but of course, change is not necessarily guaranteed. So that's kind of a long-winded way of saying it's impossible for me to know unless we were in kind of a coaching situation when I could ask you questions. I don't know whether your perception of risk is more or less rational or not. But that can be a good question for you to reflect on, even if you're not interested in coaching or anything like that. Simply ask yourself, is my perception of risk rational or not? You can talk to friends, sometimes you can talk to family members, you can talk to a good therapist, for example, but it can be useful sometimes to get some outside opinions, as well as for you yourself to consider whether or not your perception of risk is rational or not. When this issue comes up for people who are thinking about proposing their partner, the other issue is the fear that they're going to be struggling with retroactive jealousy for the rest of their life. because they're struggling with retroactive jealousy with their girlfriend. And if I make this woman my wife, well, that's going to be the rest of my life, struggling with retroactive jealousy. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that overcoming retroactive jealousy is absolutely possible. Just because you're struggling with this now, just because you've been struggling with this maybe for 5, 10, even 20 years, does not mean you have to continue struggling with it. I just want to put that message out there because that's essential. But if you're thinking about proposing to your girlfriend and all of a sudden retroactive jealousy gets worse, on some level you're probably worried that, you know what, maybe I'm going to be struggling with this for the rest of my life. But again, that's not necessarily guaranteed, and there are steps you can take right now to start overcoming retroactive jealousy. In fact, I'll take this moment to plug my free video mini course that I created for people like you, for anyone struggling with retroactive jealousy and who's wondering how to get started feeling better right now, today. If you click the link above my head somewhere, you'll also find a link in the description of this video. I'll send you a free 4-part video mini course that's going to help you get started overcoming retroactive jealousy right now. You can unsubscribe anytime, that's totally fine. Click the link above my head or click the link in the description of this video to get started. So all of this is to say that this feeling of retroactive jealousy that gets worse when you think about proposing to your girlfriend, it's fundamentally based on fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of making a commitment to the wrong person, fear of struggling with retroactive jealousy for the rest of your life. Maybe fear that you and your girlfriend don't share the same values. And obviously that's going to get much worse if you end up committing to someone who doesn't share your values. It's all about fear. But as I say endlessly, as soon as you can identify what it is you fear, it immediately becomes less so. In other words, spend some time journaling, spend some time reflecting on what the fundamental fear is, and start thinking about ways you can address that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you benefited from this video, please click the silly like button below, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and be sure you are subscribed to my channel to be notified of new videos moving forward. Thanks again for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.